do not watch this video if you're not from out of the state of Georgia. Why? Because it probably doesn't apply to you. You're going to be wasting your time. Go do something else, okay? But if you're from out of the state of Georgia and you're planning on moving here, maybe you should watch it. Why? Because I'm interviewing a lender named aaron.chick from Certainty Home Lending, okay? He answers a few questions, like, for example, what are you required to have in order to apply? Pretty much the basics of a pre-approval letter, right? Number two, how does my pre-approval changes during a job transfer to a different industry in Georgia? Let's say you have a job, maybe now you're switching careers, you're from out of the state, and now you're moving to Georgia to pretty much start from scratch. How does that change it, right? Or what if I'm self-employed and I'm trying to do business in Georgia? What do I need to do? How does it work, etc.? What if I'm retiring in Georgia, right? Let's say you're in the military, or maybe you are already 65 or whatever, you're retiring. How does that changes, etc.? So we go over those things. So please enjoy the video. And by the way, this email that you see on the screen is the email of the lender. So if you got any questions specific to your situation, reach out to him or leave it in the comments or reach out to me. It doesn't matter. But that is the email, and it changes. You're going to notice the email on the video. It says aaron.chick at certaintyhomeloans.com. But this right here is his email. And even if you reach out to the other email, he's still going to get it. But you're going to receive an email back from him saying, hey, this is my new email. Reach out to me here. All right. So let's get to it. Enjoy it. And I'll see you guys next time. All right, guys. Welcome back to another video of Living in Savannah. This time I'm with aaron.chick, which is one of the lenders that I work with. He helps some of my clients. And I wanted to ask him some questions today from people mainly out of the state. Because in this channel, I can say about 90% of the people that reach out to me are from out of the state, and they have questions about the difference between getting approved from a job transfer and things like that. So, Aaron, I want to ask you the first question. Well, first of all, actually, introduce yourself, tell the company and things like that. That way they know, what you're for, what you're about.
Yeah. My name is aaron.chick. I've been in the mortgage industry for going on 4 years now. Helped probably hundreds and hundreds of clients find a home or get qualified to hopefully buy a home at some point in life. I work for Certainty Home Lending. We've been around for a long time. We have just about every type of loan option available, and that's kind of a little bit about myself. Born and raised in Savannah, Georgia, so love the area, love growing up there, and hope some more people move.
Exactly. So that means, guys, if you're wanting to move to Savannah and he's from here, I'm from Puerto Rico. I have an accent. I got here in 2016, so I'm sure. I mean, you have knowledge from the local people that maybe I don't have, right? So if you guys got questions for him about the areas and his opinion and feedback, he probably can tell you a thing or two. So now the first question. Yeah. First question here. All right. Let's say they call me. Now I tell them, hey, I got a local lender for you, and they're going to call you. What are you required? Like, what is the requirement from them? Like, what are you expecting? What are they supposed to get? Are you going to send them a link? Do they need to have some documents ready? Like, what is the requirements to get started with you?
To be completely honest, if they give me a call, I'll typically figure out a little about the situation, what they have going on, kind of just to get to know them. And then from there, I usually just send them a link. And I wouldn't even say they need to have documents ready, because you fill out the application. All I need is your name, birth date, social security number, and things of that nature, and contact information. You fill out the application. It takes people 10 to 15 minutes to fill it out because they know everything about themselves. And then from there, I'll go in and I'll ask you. My system actually will automatically create a needs list of all the documents you need. So yes, you can go ahead and have like your W-2s, pay stubs, things of that nature prepared that you can Google online and find the things you need. But really, all you need to do is fill out this application. Worst case scenario, I call you and tell you you aren't prepared to buy a house right now, and I put out baby steps. Snowball effect is what I like to say to get you qualified. Best case scenario, you're qualified, and I just need your documentation to get you ready to buy a house. So
So I guess that the first step, then they don't actually have to have the documents downloaded on PDF, because you're going to ask them to upload a bunch of stuff that they don't want to upload anyway. right?
Exactly. As long as you don't lie in the application,
You
and
should
I'm
be
going
good.
to call you and kind of question you like I'm an attorney and trying to make sure that, hey, all the numbers you put in here are correct. For most people, I can take them at face value. And I'll just be like, hey, in the next week, I need you to provide me this documentation. You're probably not
Okay.
going to go under contract on a house in the next week. So that gives me time to get all the documentation and show where everything's correct. And I'd say 95% of the time, what people put on the application, especially after I
Hmm.
question them, it's 100% correct. It's exactly what the pay stubs say. It's what all their documents are going to say. So
Okay.
I usually are willing to trust people, and hopefully they can get those documents to me in the
Okay.
next couple days. So not necessarily. Just
Question
yeah.
on that though. Let's say, okay, let's say I live out of the state. Me and my wife or my spouse, whatever, we want to apply with you. Are you just gonna send one application if we want to do it together? Meaning like one application with both names, or is it kind of like two separate applications and then you get it done?
So whenever you go to fill out the application, it'll ask you. My website will ask you, are you filling out the application with a spouse or a partner per se?
Yeah, like a co-owner of the future home, basically.
Exactly. It'll ask you, and then you just fill it out. It'll be all in one application.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about filling out your own individual ones. That actually makes it a little bit more of a pain in the butt for me because then I've got to go through and handwrite all of your documentation for the other application and join the two together. There's no way I
Mm.
can just join the applications together because they both are their own loan number, and that's going to the
Okay.
nitty gritty of my side of the job. But
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so just fill it out together.
Okay, so that's that. There you have the answer, guys, of that question. Now, question number two, and this is for people because I get this question a lot. Not like a lot, but at least I've had it more than 5 times in the past year. I'm from out of the state. I'm getting a job transfer, right? Hey, I'm moving to Georgia. I have to be there in 4 months. I got this new job. That's the key word, new
Yep.
job. So I got
Yep.
2 years of taxes, right? In my
Yeah.
mind, I'm like, oh, well, I qualify because I got 2 years of taxes, but I'm changing careers. Now this is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Is there anything different? Like, do I have to worry about anything when if you're gonna ask me for for information? Like, how does that change for someone who's out of the state and it's getting a new career in Georgia?
So if you're getting a new job in Georgia, you're moving here, you've probably got a job offer letter. Hopefully, you're not just
Mhm.
moving without a job lined up. That's
Yeah.
typically what I end up running into is people calling me, "Hey, I love Georgia. I love the Savannah area. I want to move down south." Typically, is most people's situation. They want to get out the cold, move to a warmer area, um, and they don't have a job lined up. Well, you're not going to have any income to pay your mortgage back. So, we've got to make sure that's lined up. But let's say that situation, like you're explaining, they already have a job. So
Mhm.
what I would need to do is I would need to see your job offer letter. That's all I need.
Okay.
And you cannot buy a house until you are 2 months out from that start date. So whenever you
Mm.
close on the house, it has to be a bare minimum of 2 months whenever you start work. All right. So not 61 days. 60 days is the bare minimum out from your start date. With that, though, you have to meet any pre-work requisites. So some
Okay.
jobs want you to do a drug test, some type of training, or things of that nature. Um, so you have to meet those, and the job has to. We're going to call the job, make sure
Yeah.
that you've met whatever prerequisites they have for you. So make sure you get that. That needs to be done prior to you buying, more than likely. I've ran into
Now,
this situation a couple times.
now that you say
Uh,
that, guys, do not put because some people download a PDF, right? They get the job letter from their job or whatever they want to call it. And I've ran into someone. It was more for a rental, but they
yeah.
downloaded it as a PDF, edit the PDF, and put someone else's phone number.
Hmm.
So when I made the phone call to find out if this guy works at that place,
Yeah.
someone else picked it up, and I can immediately tell that they were lost. They're like, "What business? I think you got the wrong number. What business are you calling?" I'm like, "Oh, never mind." So I Googled the name of the business, and then I found the right number. So if you guys think you guys, like he said, don't be lying.
Yeah.
Like if
Just don't do it.
apparently just because you submitted an application and they call you to let you know that maybe they're gonna call you
Yeah.
in 3 months, don't be
Yeah.
saying that you already have a job offer.
Exactly. So you have the job offer, and that's pretty much what we're going to do 85% of the time. We're just going to Google the company, and
Mm-hmm.
call that number. And they're probably going to, because they get calls about this all the time from people
Mm-hmm.
trying to verify work. This is what we have to do. So
Yeah.
we'll just be like, hey, who's the HR manager, or whoever such and such's manager going to be,
Yeah.
and we just send them a form to fill out, and or we'll ask them, hey, have they completed all their prerequisite requirements, and they'll have to send us a letter or email back stating yes, they have. So that's just a little niche there, is because I've ran into that issue with, like, for instance, a local company, Gulfstream.
Okay.
Depending on your job, you've got to do a whole training at Gulfstream before you start your full-time pay. So you get paid like half of what you would get afterwards. Well, I needed him to complete that training so I could use the full-time pay, because for the next month, his pay is only like half of what he's qualifying off of. So I need him to complete that training before we could do it. So each person's situation is different, but that's just like a little example of, hey, even though he's got the job, everything is good, he's just got to complete this month of training. I can't use his real income until he completes that month of training, because let's say he goes through that training, decides he wants to quit, or they fire him at training because they just don't like him. But if I have a letter, you have no training, we just got to verify to make sure you've met any type of prerequisites you may have, and then 2 months from that day. So
exactly. Now, okay, I think the next question, actually, and this is more like a random question that just came in my mind. Does it change if the person have, because that's just an example of different industry. But what if I am self-employed? Like, for example, me, if I wanted to move to Texas and I am a realtor, let's say, for example, I've been killing it in Georgia, and then all of a sudden I'm like, look, I've been making $200,000 a year for the last 7 years, right? For example. And then I'm like, hey, I'm moving to Texas. I'm going to be a realtor. Here's my license. Whatever. I'm already with a broker there. Is that, like, if I'm self-employed, because that's a whole different game right there. Do I need what proof, or what are you going to require from me?
So for your situation, like, you're a realtor, all right?
Yeah.
Let's say most of your income is like all of your income comes from you buying and selling homes in the state of Georgia. Most of your income's not rental property, because we'll have to get your previous 2 years taxes, so we'll see what's rental income and what's not. If you can't move and continue to gain that same amount of income, you're reset on a 2-year window again.
Really?
As if you're from the start, because unfortunately you can't keep running your business in a different state and expect the same income.
Because it's not an online business. It's a geographical.
Exactly.
It's a geographical location dependent business, basically.
Exactly. So if you move to Texas, you know how to be a realtor, and you probably know how to get your business up and running again in Texas.
But there's no proof of it yet.
There's no proof that you're going to make it work in Texas. You see what I'm saying? So now, if let's say you run a accounting company, there's a good chance you can move away, and that office, wherever you were at, can keep running on its own. You don't have to be physically there anymore, because you probably have an office or people working under you. You can still continue to do your job from relatively anywhere. You can work remotely.
That's a perfect example, because on this channel, for example, living in Savannah, I can have 100,000 subscribers and be making a ton of money from it here locally. And then I moved to California. My channel is completely irrelevant. Like, I'm at zero completely.
Yeah. So it's just really boils down to your individual line of work. Is when it comes to self-employed people, can you move somewhere else in your business, continue to run there? Perfectly fine. Like, if you're a realtor and all of your income's from rental properties, fantastic. You move away, guess what? That rental income is going to continue to come in. As long as you still own those houses, you didn't go and sell them all. So it's a case-by-case basis, but I'd say generally the rule of thumb is, can you run your business somewhere else, from somewhere else? If you can, then fantastic, you're good to go. If not, probably on a 2-year waiting period.
If not, you just become a newbie. It's like, hey, you just started in business again. That you just
exactly.
Okay, so the third question. This happened actually last week. What if I want to retire in Georgia, but my retirement income will not be the same as reflected on my previous 2 years of tax records? For example, and this happened more, I'm talking more about military guys. They're like, hey, this is my last year. I'm from back, I'm going back home to Georgia. I am whatever this rank, and I've been making this amount of money for the past whatever many years. But
Yeah.
now I'm only gonna retire with a 50% compensation.
Yeah.
How does that change my my pre-approval or whatever?
Yeah. So for that situation, I was thinking whenever you gave me these questions beforehand, I was thinking this is going to go a different way. But in this situation, so you're military, you're retiring out of the military. You're no longer going to be working. Um, you, if you're still in working age and you want to work, you're going to need a job offer letter, just like the person, the other people who are changing careers or anything of that nature. You need that
Okay.
job offer letter and we're going to use that income. But let's say you don't plan on working anymore. All we can go off of is, and they should know what this is, you should get some type of retirement or / disability awards letter. It'll be a letter stating how much income you're going to get monthly.
Okay.
That is the income we are going to use to qualify you. And if you don't have
Okay.
that letter yet, then we can't qualify you yet, because until you know that, we can't know that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas I've run into this a lot with military people too, is like they're like, hey, like I'm just waiting on my disability to come in. Well, everyone in the VA knows VA doesn't do anything fast, and it can take a year before you get your disability increased or even get rewarded it. So in that situation, we're just going to need you to wait for your awards letter to come out. If you're retiring, you're probably going to get it pretty fast because they gotta make sure you're out and done with the military. So they're going to make that happen fast. But we're going to be using your awards letter, your retirement awards letter, disability awards letter for your future income. And
Okay.
that's the income we're going to qualify you off. If you want to go get a job, just as like I said before, we need a job offer letter.
Okay.
No more than 60 days out to use that.
Do they get any type of incentives though? Like if I'm retired, like does the financing changes like that or anything? Like, hey, you're retired. Maybe there is like a regulation for retired people that maybe you get a lower interest rate or whatever.
Unfortunately, no. There's nothing. Pretty much all of the, I'd say, first-time home buyers, all of the specialty programs have pretty much went away, if I'm being honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they've went away is because everyone in the mom wants to buy a home, and they don't need to put out special programs to get people to buy homes. They made all those programs after the '08 housing crash to make people buy homes again. Everyone was scared to
Yeah.
buy a home. So they came out with all this stuff. And at this point, we're almost 20 years away,
Yeah.
almost 20 years away from the '08 crash.
Mm-hmm.
They're not worried about people wanting to buy homes again. So you're pretty much just stuck with, if you're VA, you do have the VA loan. If you're
Yeah.
above 75% disabled, you don't have to pay what's called a funding fee on it. So
Okay.
that's nice. But other
Okay,
than
so
that,
I guess the fact that they don't, I mean, they can save some money, exactly like you said, if they don't have to pay the VA funding fee at that point. I guess that's
yep.
the only. Yeah,
But
but
that's
that's
not
not,
even
that doesn't come from you. That's more the regulation on the VA side because they can take that away
ex-
anytime.
exactly. So there's really not any specialty programs for retirees. You're just like anyone else buying a home.
Okay.
And let's say you're at the age of retirement. Let's say you're like 65 and you're wanting to retire to the Savannah area or
Okay.
state of Georgia.
That's the initial question. You said that the
Yeah,
angle
yeah,
that
yeah,
you wanted to. Okay. Okay.
yeah.
That's a
So
good example.
but let's say you're of retirement age and you're retiring here. I get this a lot. People are retiring. They want to live closer to the beach. Great for you. I appreciate it. I hope to one day be in your situation. Um, it's just simple as needing your awards letter for them as well. Even VA, you can retire early, whereas these people, they're going to retire early. I'm sure they got 401k, Social Security, pensions, all of those different types of things they can draw out for retirement. We
Mm-hmm.
needed the awards letter for Social Security, for your pension. 401k, that's just you talk to whoever your manager is, your financial advisor that runs that 401k for you, and you
Mm-hmm.
set up a distribution for how much you're going to take out. If it's
Nice.
401k pension, we just got to make sure there's enough money there to last 3 years. Social Security, we just need your Social Security awards letter. So once you have those things set up, you provide them to me, provide the documentation, then we're good to go.
Okay.
We use that as your income to qualify you to buy a house.
Nice. Well, there you have it, guys. Now, this is the last question because we wanted to keep it. We didn't want to make it too long where people start getting confused. But I'm gonna bring Aaron later on this channel to keep answering whatever question you got. So if you got any question, just leave it in the comments,
I'll
and
be
then I
here.
can just ask Aaron, and we can go from there. So the last question: what if my spouse, they have bad credit? Like, is it better to apply by myself, or should I, because she has a job, she got good income, but her credit's not too good. Should I
Yeah.
just keep it to myself and just apply myself, or should we do it together?
So this can go one of two ways. Every lender is going to look at this question differently. All right. And I'll explain why they may look at it differently than I do. I personally don't care.
Okay.
I think it's probably better if you both apply. Because from my point of view is your spouse has bad credit. Everyone's bad credit is different. I've talked to people who have a 760 credit score and think they have bad credit. I've talked to people who have a 500 credit score and think it's not that bad. So
Okay.
everyone's version of bad is different.
That is so true, because I I had like, I remember when I checked my credit, it was like 680, and I was so mad. I'm like, what? There's no way.
Exactly. But from a mortgage standpoint, you're still good to go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? So everyone's version of bad is different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think go ahead and apply with both of you. Worst case scenario, I'm removing your spouse off the loan because their credit is too low. But there's a caveat to that. Whenever I pull their system, and pretty much every lender has this. I used to think it was just me when I got in the industry. Starting to find out just about every mortgage company has this. Whenever we pull your credit in, we can go in and check to see how we can improve it. Sometimes it's as simple as paying $100, $200 on a credit card and waiting 30 days. So,
Okay.
and that can get them to the point of qualifying to buy a home or be at least on the mortgage application, so each person's situation of how they can improve their credit is different. But let's say I can't find a way to get them there. Worst case scenario, I'm just removing them off the line. I'm just clicking a couple buttons, deleting them, splitting your credit report, and we're going to do it the way you probably thought you need to do it anyways. Best case scenario, I find a way to improve their credit, and I can now use both of you guys as income, and you can both be on the application to possibly get a little bit more house than I could with just the one spouse. So that's why I think personally it doesn't matter from my point of view. I just, it takes a little bit more time for me to figure out how I can improve the credit or if I can improve it, so that takes maybe 15 to 20 minutes out of my day, when if you would have just applied by yourself without them, I wouldn't have to use that time. So that's kind of why different lenders are going to be different. And like, for instance, when I first started in the industry, the way we ran mortgage applications, the system we use, if I was wanting to delete your spouse off or the significant other, whoever it is, that extra person, and the person I was deleting happened to be in the first borrower spot, I would have to go and copy all of your information from the second borrower, so whoever the better spouse is, I'd have to handwrite everything down. So their name, credits, birthdays, everything about them, their addresses they've lived, how long they've lived, the dates, work, everything, etc. And I would have to hand copy it all over to the position one because I can't run an application without them being in position one. Whereas now the new background website software that we use to run applications automatically does that for me. So there may be some lenders out there who have to do that. Well, when you do that, it takes you an hour to delete a borrower and move them over. So that's why they would say, no, we don't want you to do that. And I don't blame them. If it takes an hour out of your day, let's just let's do it that way. But that's why I personally don't care, is because I may be able to help someone out, at least know the direction they need to go to improve their credit. And I just delete them off and they go about, it the way you want to do originally.
I think people, the reason why they are hesitant to do that is because maybe they Google some things like, how does my credit score affect my interest rate and monthly payment or whatever? And then they figure, okay, so if my spouse got bad credit and then we're together, she's going to screw me up or he's going to screw me up because now my interest rate's going to be maybe higher than it should be if I do it myself. Maybe they think that. I don't know. I'm just assuming, but who knows?
It's all in brackets. To be completely honest, it's all in brackets. So yes, whenever you're doing a mortgage, it goes off the lowest person's credit score. So just kind of keeping that in mind. It can affect your interest rate, but you're not gonna go from getting, like right now rates are, let's say mid 7s to mid 6s, depending on the person and type of loan you get.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to go from getting a 7.2 to a 6.8 due to credit score loan. That's not a thing. It might be that you because you have better credit by yourself is going to get a 7%. With the spouse, if their credit's god awful right at the bare minimum, they'd probably be at like a 7.2 to 7.3. And if you look at it from a grand scheme of 30 years on the average mortgage, that may be a difference of anywhere from $20 to $100 a month. But the difference is you may not be able to qualify for the house that you love without your spouse. So you see what I'm saying? So yes, if you can qualify without them, fantastic. And whenever you end up going under contract in the house, if you can qualify it without the spouse, you can delete them off and you can get that little bit better of a rate.
Exactly.
But you may not be able to qualify for that house without the spouse. So you see what I'm saying? So we'll handle that when we get there. But it doesn't hurt to have both of them on there. Is just my general viewpoint.
Another thing though, because I've had and I've seen people having this conversation. Sometimes people think if I'm not part of the loan, which I think this is more like people who have never bought a home in their life or whatever, which is fine.
Yeah.
They think that, if I don't put my wife on the loan, that means that the home is only going to be under my name and she's not going to own the house. I've seen women kind of like looking at their husband like, so am I going to be on the offer? Why am I not on the paperwork? And I'm like, hey, we can talk to the attorney and they can put you as part of the deed and you're going to own the home as well. And they're like, oh, okay. Like they're concerned, like, don't be buying a house without me, because then you're going to kick me out one day. And
whatever you want to, you could just kick me out. But that's something I typically advise people to. Let's say they're overqualified. We do not need the spouse. It's very few that I run into it, and they absolutely just want their spouse on the loan. I come from a financial background. My first job was trying to be a financial advisor. So I would love for everyone to make the best financial decision. If we don't need your spouse on the loan, I try to convince you to get them off of it if we don't need them. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, what that does is that allows their credit to be open to, let's say, most people usually want to go buy new furniture for a new house, or maybe you want to, you like living in Savannah, you move away and you're in Savannah and you want to get a boat. That leaves your wife's credit or your husband's credit, whoever the spouse is that's off the loan, leaves their credit available to go and get that, because for the first 2 to 3 months, your credit's probably going to drop 80 points whenever you buy a house until you make a couple payments. So your credit's going to be in shambles, while the other person's credit, if you guys can qualify without the other person, it's going to be perfectly intact and fine, and you can put whatever you need to in their name. If you don't need to do anything, whatever, but still leaves their credit off, and you can just put them on the title. They have all the same ownership interest in the house. And if you're that wife that's worried about that, or the husband that's worried about them talking about that, divorce still says you own everything in the house. So you still own the house just as you would have if you were on the loan.
There you go, guys. I had to bring that up because I've seen that like 3 times. I always stop. I'm like, hey, calm down. You can be on the title. Chill. Don't be arguing here.
I've had to deal with that with a couple times with a couple people where I'm like, hey, you do not need your significant other or spouse on the loan. And they just refuse. They're like, nope, can't do that. I'm like, this must be an argument they've had that they don't want, that they just want to leave it alone.
Yeah. All right, guys, there you have it. That's aaron.chick right there. I'm going to leave his phone number on the screen, his email, and you probably are going to if you call me, that's probably one of the guys that I'm going to recommend you anyways. So give him a call or leave a comment on the comment section with your question, and then we can answer it later. All right. Do you have anything else to say to them?
Don't forget to subscribe and, reach out with any questions. My cell phone will be there hopefully. And, just call me, text me. That's my cell. You got 24/7 access to me. No question's a dumb question. And, let's get you in a home. Let's get you moved here to Georgia. Or if you're already here, let's get you in a new home or get you into home ownership.
Let's go. All righty. See you guys next time. Take care.